So I'm trying to get better at doing videos and everything. I haven't done one in a while. So I was asked by someone in a group that I'm in called Smash Your Stash. It's a friend of mine. She posts challenges. One of our challenges was that we did was to try a new technique, and I did this new technique, the background that I have on these two journal pages. And I was asked by somebody how I came up with the technique, and I had said I got it off of YouTube, which I did, and they asked me to send the link, and then I realized that I didn't really get it off of one specific technique. I actually got it by, you know, watching a few different videos and then sort of playing with it. So I did say that I would try to replicate the technique, so I thought I would see if that is actually something I could do. So I thought I would try a video and see how it goes. So I did actually pre-prepare the one page because I needed it to dry, but I thought I would do a couple things. I'm going to be like in the kitchen when they have a pre-done one, but I started off with my journal page that I gessoed, and I'm going to show you how I do the first part of the technique. And since that takes a while to dry, I will then use the pre-done one that is actually already dried, because that's actually the one I want to do the technique on. So you do actually need to have your journal. I'm doing the first part in the bigger journal because that's actually the next page I've got prepared, and then I'll do the second part of the technique in the smaller journal because that's the one I pre-prepared. So the first thing you do need is, once you've actually got your gessoed pages, is the 3D gloss gel. I got the Finnabar Art Basics 3D gloss gel. This stuff is really cool. Looks like that. You put it on with a palette knife. So what I'm going to do is take my page, my gessoed page, and then you just take a stencil, whatever stencil I want to do this butterfly one on this page. So I'm just going to take the 3D gloss gel, make sure it's in the frame. So yeah, you just take the 3D gloss gel, whatever much you want, and then you just spread it over the stencil. And this stencil has a lot of open space, so there's going to be a lot of this gel that's just on the page, and I'm not quite sure how that's going to work, but I guess when the time comes to do that part of it, I will find out. Who knows, I might not even do the same technique on the rest of this part. But once you've done all this, you have to let it dry. You can actually dry it with a heat gun if you like. I found that I actually prefer to do it, let it sit overnight. Just because then it's completely dry. You don't end up, sometimes with the heat gun you end up getting bubbles in it, and I actually don't want to do that. Just so everybody knows, my cat, my new kitten that I got at Christmas, could end up visiting us because he's kind of a doofus. Hopefully he doesn't jump up here because I really don't want cat hair in this. With this one, you don't actually have to do the entire page with this if you don't want to. I'm actually just going to do one side of the page. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with the other side of the page, or if I do, I might actually do that later. We'll see what I decide, but I just wanted you to be able to kind of see how this works. So once you've got it all the way you want, put your 3D gloss aside, and then you just peel up the stencil. So I'm not sure if you can see in the video. I'm going to have to put this part down and get it out of the way. Hopefully my cat will stay off of it. Okay, I wasn't quite as prepared for this as I thought I was. We'll try this again. But I'm not sure if you can quite tell, but it looks quite white right now but when it dries, it will actually dry clear. You almost really won't even be able to see it. So this one has all the butterflies in there. So then once it dries, I'll be able to do the rest of the technique. So I'm just going to set this aside. And like I said, I'm going to be in like one of those cooking shows and go, voila, here's the one that's already dried. Now, as I said, this stuff is supposed to dry clear, and I'll try to get you a close-up. You can actually kind of see, I used two different stencils on this one. This one did dry clear. This stencil didn't dry clear. You can see it's kind of a little bit of a brown color. I didn't clean this stencil as well as I would have liked, so this stencil had some color or stain still on it, but it's not really a big deal because I'm going to be putting more color over top of it. I learned from the fabulous Dina Wakely that, you know, especially in art journaling, doesn't matter if there's things on it because you're going to cover it, and sometimes you might like how it looks, and like I said, I'm doing or didn't say, there's probably a steampunky kind of theme is what I'm sort of going for with this, so because it's kind of brown, doesn't really matter. I really don't, doesn't bother me that much. But yeah, if you've ever seen her stamps, they're not clean at all. So then the next part of the technique, hope you're prepared to get your hands dirty, or your fingers dirty, because you're really going to. The next part I used the silks. They're an acrylic glaze. This time I'm using cinnamon brown and harvest soil, which is kind of a gold, because like I said, I want that steampunky, metally kind of feel. I did actually get this part of the technique from one of the wonderful ladies from Scraps of Elegance in Darkness, who posted a video, and of course right now, as I'm thinking, I'm blanking on who posted the video. So please forgive me, all my wonderful friends. I've got so many of you on there, and you guys are all so cool, and I appreciate all the fun techniques you're showing me. So, and this is actually one part of her video. It's the video that I actually already put on that page, so that I gave the link to. So, what you do is it's a really cool thick glaze. So, as I said, I'm going to get my fingers quite dirty doing this. So I think what I might do, if I can find it, is get my palette knife and put some of this stuff on the lids so that I'm actually not digging my finger right into the jar. So like I said, it's quite a thick glaze. So basically, all you do is you get some of it on your finger, and then you just kind of rub it over the stencil, and you will notice that the stencil, because the stencil's there, the color doesn't totally seep in. It stays darker in some places, it stays lighter in others, and there's really no rhyme or reason to the rest to where I'm putting anything. I'm just kind of rubbing it in a few places just to get the look I want, and you can see where the stencil is. Sometimes it actually will stay a bit white. So that was kind of the plan, and that was the lovely technique that I got taught. So then I'm going to use this other color as well, the Harvest, because it's a different shade, and I just put it on the same finger, so if it mixes a little bit, that's alright too. And like I said, I did use 2 different stencils, so there's different places where it's going to show up, and it's going to show up and it's going to blend in different ways. The fun thing I've found about the mixed media is nothing ever turns out quite the same. This one is actually looking a bit different than the other one I did, probably because I used a different stencil and different colors. So it's just a matter of how much you rub it in or don't rub it in. So I've got a few different shades here, and I just like how it's turning out. And if you don't like something, you can add more color, less color. I'll probably change the color of my fingernails. The paint does come off. It takes a couple of days. I found you can also scrub it off if you've got fun little different scrubbing pads, or I use anything I can to get it off. But yeah, a couple days and it's usually gone. Like I said, if I decide I don't like something, I can put more. The more paint you have on your finger, the darker the spots will be. So you'll notice some of these parts where it's darker is where I've had more ink on my fingers. So I think that's for the most part the way I want it. The other thing you can do if you want is once you have it the way you think the way you want it, you can take a baby wipe, and if you want, you can rub some of it off as well. Like if you decide you've got too much in a place, or if you just don't quite like how the color is in a certain section. And you can also notice when you're rubbing this that with the baby wipe, sorry, my brain isn't totally working today, that when you rub it in, it actually will blend the inks a little bit. So, and like I said, I sort of blended this one a little bit different, so all in all, it's a slightly different look. And when I do the other one with the butterflies, I'm not even sure if this is the technique I'm going to do. So there you go. And then with the other side of this one, what I did is I did the same technique with the 3D gloss gel, and then I just used the stains and rubbed them over it, and used the baby wipe to rub away, and that's why you've got the white. But this is what this one looks like now. So I hope that helps if you want to play with it and come up with something else, but there you go. That's how I did that technique.